Welcome, Discover and Recover Yoga Peace. This is I, Neil McGuffog, founder of At the Core, wearing my monumental yoga. This is the t-shirt from last year's celebration. We celebrated last Wednesday on the summer solstice with about 12 to 1,500 of my closest yogi friends on the circle in downtown Indianapolis, celebrating the longest day of the year. With the idea of last week's theme of stepping into the light. I'm glad you guys are here. Thank you so much for joining this practice. The theme, I like to introduce a theme for each week. This theme for this week, the theme for this week is the ripple effect. I know you probably are familiar with the idea, the concept of the ripple effect. Here you are. Here it is, a pebble dropped into that body of water, and as it emanates, as it ripples out from that central point, it is the metaphor for us as that pebble dropped into that body of water with what our demeanor, our actions, our words, our deeds are, as we, in an effort to bring some peace and some solidarity and some connection to our communities, we are that ripple. We are that pebble that can create that ripple as it radiates out into our communities. And the hope and desires, of course, that ripple effect is positive, is uplifting, is supportive. On occasion, sometimes those ripples can be less than uplifting, can be more along the lines of negativity and gossip and innuendo and sarcasm and passive aggressiveness. But in this case, as we practice, as we discover the versions of ourselves that we would like to perhaps shift, change, modify. For me, it's breaking through those aspects of fear, procrastination, judgment, that I would like my ripples to be that of support, of connection. So that's the theme for this week's Discover and Recover Yoga, DNR Yoga. Please, if you have suggestions for future themes, future intentions, as this DNR yoga practice continues to unfold, please put them in the chat. I'd love to, introduce or include your ideas, suggestions for those concepts, those notions, those ideas we can incorporate as a theme for a practice, an upcoming practice. Finding yourself onto your mat, we're going to begin in child's pose. This, by the way, child's pose. Those regular practitioners, it is simply coming onto the hands and knees, big toes to touch towards the back of the mat. I'm going to suggest the knees come out a little wider towards the edge of the mat. Gently sinking hips back towards the heels as you extend the arms forward and let go. Ideally, the forehead finds the mat. If it doesn't, no worries. You could place one palm down and the other palm on top of the back of the hand and let that forehead rest on the back of the hand. You could do the same thing with the fists stacked. Otherwise, perhaps that forehead readily makes it to the surface of the mat. As you hunker down, opportunity, if that forehead makes it to the mat, just moving the head from side to side. Or massage of that third eye. We call it the third eye, right there in the center of the forehead. Activating child's pose by reaching a little further forward, maybe spreading the fingers wider. Sink the hips a little lower, soften the throat, soften the jaw. Child's pose. Big breath in. Big breath out. Couple more of those. Full, rich, and deep breath in through the nose. And on the exhale, let that shit go. That which no longer serves. Anger, disappointment, resentment, bitterness, envy. Let it go. Eventually, we're going to walk all 10 fingertips over towards the right side of the mat. So the left hip gets heavy towards left heel. As you float that core, that thigh, and that chest is kind of hovering over the right thigh. We can feel some expansion through the left side body. Lean out to lengthen through the left side body. As you exhale, we're going to travel through center over to the left side, right hip heavy towards right heel. Hello, right side body. Yeah. Inhale to expand through the right side. As we exhale, we're back to center. You guessed it. We're back to hand, back to regular child's pose, only to now come to tabletop. Inhaling for cow. Exhale for stretch. Inhale to dip the navel low, lift the gaze to the sky. Exhale, chin tucks and back rounds. So a few motions, a few rounds of cat-cow. Let's that spine unwind. Feel the undulation. Feel the articulation as we go for 6. Breathing steady into that for 5. Here's 4. Here's 3. Oh yeah, almost there for 2. Eventually, you're back to neutral tabletop. All right, DNR yoga peeps, we're going to float onto the right hip or the left hip as we swing the legs around to the front and we'll find seated. Mixing things up a little bit this morning. So seated posture, we'll call it staff pose. Bring the legs out front, allow the core to go perpendicular to the floor. You can bring the hands to the heart center. If there is another purpose for your practice, maybe something along the lines of the ripple effect, perhaps it's another idea, a thought, a notion, a concept, sending some love, some light out to somebody in your midst who may be struggling as we inhale those fingertips towards the ceiling and exhale, gentle seated forward fold. Gentle seated forward fold. All is well. Allow the chest to melt towards the thigh, chin is in a bit. We'll elongate the back of the neck. We'll hold for 3. Breathing into that for 2. Now on 1, walk the hands up the outstretched legs, please. Brief pause here. Now, I'm going to position myself into a wide-legged seated posture by bringing my heels and Achilles tendons onto the mat because it's more comfortable than placing my heels or my Achilles tendons on this hardwood floor. Actually, it's a vinyl plank. But in this position, if you like, if you're on carpet, you're probably safe or you're probably pretty comfortable there. Hands back at the heart center. You can point and flex the feet if you like a bit. That straddle, that wide-legged position is whatever works best for your body as we inhale those fingertips towards the ceiling. Exhale has a hinging from the waist where we come to maybe the fingertips, maybe the palms, maybe the forearms. Who knows? Maybe you have actually come a little lower. Options is for some props, maybe a pillow, maybe a blanket. You can stack the props up for making it more comfortable. This might allow you to bring the forehead to that prop. And we nestle in here. Hello, adductors, inner thighs. All is well in this straddled, seated, wide-legged fold. Eventually, I'm going to slide this right forearm inside that right leg, inside that right thigh, and this left arm is going to bisect that left ear. We're coming up and over. Left hip wants to pop a little bit, so I'm going to see if I can be engaging by pressing that left hip to the floor. Who knows? Maybe left fingertips find the right toe. We'll hold for 3. Breathing into that for 2. Now on 1, come to center. Pause here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get up from, and I'm going to close the window here because there's a lawnmower being outside the window, so maybe be less distracted. Taking that left forearm inside that left leg, and same thing other side. Same thing other side. Oh yes. Right arm's going to bisect that right ear. Right hip wants to pop a little bit, so I'm going to be mindful of that. Yeah. All is well as we hold for 3. You like to move the head a bit, yes or no? Breathing into that for 2. Now 1, come back to center, wherever that is. Fingertips, palms, forearms, block, prop or no prop. Yeah. Big breath in. Big breath out. We'll hold for 3. Breathing into that for 2. Now, please, let's walk the hands back in towards the midline. Realign the spine. I like to take the hands underneath the knees and just simply draw the knees in and out. Oh, yeah. So you're in this position. I'm going to reposition myself on the mat. So with the feet about a little wider than hip distance, the hands behind my back, I'm going to start the windshield wiper. I'm just going to start, yes, sweeping the legs from side to side. Working on the hips, opening up the hips. Here we go. Back and forth for 4. Here's 3. Here's 2. Now on this last one, let's sweep over to the right side. So I'm going to flex the feet. Legs are kind of at a 90-degree angle. I'm going to keep twisting around. So I have my left hand to the mat, my right hand to the mat, and see if I can find this twist. You're probably maybe looking over that right shoulder. Nice. Core is engaged. I don't want to dump in. So let's see if I can lift up. We'll hold for 3. Breathing into that for 2. Now on 1, let's sweep it to the other side, please. Take your time as you sweep that right arm across. Hopefully both hands can find the mat. Maybe it's the fingertips. Feet are flexed. Maybe the gaze goes over that left shoulder as we hold for 3. Nice. Steady breathing into this for 2. Yeah, guys. Now on 1, come back to center. Beautiful. From this position, I'm going to start to lean it back and find boat pose. Modifications are here by grabbing the hamstrings, placing the hands down by the hips, or maybe the full expression. So you have the option to, at this juncture, to practice wherever you are, morning practice, afternoon practice, maybe evening practice, whatever is going to, how that's going to manifest for you as we hold for 5. Modifications, breathing into that for 4. Here we go, steady into this for 3. Here we are for 2. On 1, recross. Let's come into that cross-legged position, top of the mat. Hands come back to the heart space. Check in at the heart center where all the good stuff emanates. Steady breath in, nice steady breath out. If you haven't already started to practice that nostril breathing, you can bring the breath in through the nose, out through the nose. Gentle reminder that we have the mucous membranes and the nostril hairs to be the first defense against some of the pathogens, some of the allergens, some of the toxins that are in the air molecules, the bazillion of air molecules that we breathe in every day. Inhale those fingertips toward the ceiling. On the exhale, that right hand is down and the left arm up and over. Another opportunity to move the spine laterally. So moving the head, yes or no. Inhale to lengthen the left side. Exhale, we're going to take the left hand to the right thigh, right hand to low back. So think about that right arm as like a second spine. And I'm using this left hand as a bit of leverage to the outside of that right thigh. We come into this twist fairly regularly as we hold for 3. Breathing into that for 2. Now on 1, that right arm is going to sweep at an angle. So we're twisting to the right, but the right arm is going to have us lean left. We'll hold here for 3. Breathing into that for 2. Now on 1, untwist, unwind. We're back to the heart of the matter. Any micro movements to get yourself reconnected. Inhale, let's sweep the arms wide and high. Now it's going to be the left hand down and the right arm up and over. Same thing, other side. Maybe the left fingertips walk a little further over towards the left side of the mat. Draw energy into that right side body, a little movement of the head, perhaps. Nice. Eventually, right hand to left thigh and left hand to the low back. So let's find that twist. Probably looking over the left shoulder, and I'm using this right hand as leverage. We'll hold for 3. Breathing into that for 2. Now, guess what I want? Left arm is going to sweep at an angle. Left arm goes catty corner. Torso's twisting left, but we're going to lean right. Not a political statement, just an opportunity to practice this. How about moving ahead of it, yes or no? As we hold for 3. Breathing into that for 2. Now on 1, untwist. Unwind. So the rhetorical question I ask students is, what do you do to unwind? So for me, back in the day, 30 years ago, it was copious consumptions of alcohol. Copious consumption of alcohol. So sometimes it wasn't copious. Sometimes it was just controlled drinking. I remember that vividly. My first wife, I've been married twice. The question would be on this night, 30 years ago. The desire would be, please don't drink too much tonight. It'd be an open bar, a celebration for a wedding or some kind of activity. And I would consciously and purposely control drink. And I thought, see, that's no problem. And truly, who drinks like that? Who thinks, okay, it's 7:30, I've had 1 beer, I'll wait another 45 minutes, eat a sandwich or eat some bread, coat my stomach, and then I'll have another beer. That's just not normal for most people. Okay, however you want to return to tabletop. I'm going to draw the knees out to the side. Coming back onto hands and knees, please. Nice. Toes tuck under. Hips lift. Downward facing dog. So first upside down V, transitioning into this. Please bend 1 knee and then the other as the tail starts to wag. As the head starts to move like it's on a swivel. You can explore on the mat, take the hands out wide if you'd like, take the feet out wide, find that wide version of downward dog, find some exploration, some investigation, but eventually we find some stillness. I'm going to take this right foot to the outside of the left foot. There it is, little crisscross downward dog legs. We'll hold for 3, breathing into that for 2. That 1, uncross, okay. Yes, left foot to the outside of the right foot, crisscross downward dog legs on this side. Notice the differences, notice the nuances as we hold for 3. Breathing into that for 2. That 1, uncross. In onto the tiptoes. As you exhale, bend both knees, look between the thumbs. Let's walk it, step it to the top of the mat, standing forward fold. Chin is in, arms can drape. They can stay heavy, you can sway, you can bind. You can stay stick straight still if you like, but eventually roll up the spine, rolling, stacking 1 vertebra on top of the other. Oh yeah. Shoulders above hips, ears above shoulders, mountain pose, top of the mat. Check in with your breath, let it flow. And we talk about nostril breathing, but those who've been around for a bit now, I'm going to occasionally encourage you to let that breath go out through the mouth. Big fan of the exhale because it can be so therapeutic. The breath being an anchor, a beautiful anchor when the going gets rough, the buttons get pushed, the triggers are tripped. Come back to 3, 4, 5 diaphragmatic breath cycles to release that tension, that worry, that stress, that anxiety. Weight shift to this right foot, left foot crosses to the outside of the right foot. So I've been digging this position as we're going to begin a fold, bend, I should say. So here it is. I'm super rooted from the waist down. There's a sense of lifting from the waist up as the arms come up by the ears. So build that base. Right hand grabs left wrist, side bend to the right. So I'm opening up that left side body. We've been working laterally a bit this morning, or maybe wherever you are, timing wise, as we open up that whole left side. Find that arch. And I'm using this right hand as leverage. We'll hold for 3. Oh yeah, breathing into that for 2. Now on 1, come back to center. Uncross. Yeah, let that uncross happen quickly. Pause. Reset. Realign. Weight to that left foot. Right foot crosses to the outside. Now when I do it on this side, it's a little different. Again, full disclosure. Right hip is 3 years old. Left hip 180 days, 190 days old. Inhale, bell lift. Guess what? Left hand grab right wrist, side bend to the left. Oh yeah. So open up that left side, using this left hand for leverage. A little wanky. Still see if you can get grounded into the feet as best you can. We'll hold for 4. Breath is flowing, please. Almost for 3. Breathing into that for 2. Now on 1, we're coming back to center, and please let go. Mountain pose, somewhere top of the mat. Settle in. And simply be. Notice, observe, be aware. Your surroundings. If you'd like to mitigate, minimize that forward head tilt, think about drawing the front of the throat to the back of the neck. Eyes open or closed. If you'd like to lift the 10 toes, I'm lifting the toe pads off of the surface of the mat. I've got some students that have fingers for toes. They're really getting spread wide. Eventually, we'll let those toe pads come back to the surface. And I'm going to suggest you draw those toes in towards the balls of the feet. You can do them one at a time, right foot and then left foot, or both simultaneously. So just dragging those toe pads in towards the balls of feet, working that the musculature, the ligaments, the tendons, all of the, all that bony structure that the feet have. Keep going for 3. Nice. Breathing into that for 2. Nice. Now on 1, pause for base. We're back to this. Now I'm just going to begin a little spin. We did this last week. So as if you had a central access point running down from the crown of the head through the torso into the earth. You're spinning around that access point. You'll be on the balls of the feet. You'll be on the in blade and out blade of the feet as you begin that little rotation. Yep. Toes might lift off, my heels might. Now reverse it, take it, and spin the other way. So the lawnmower has ceased. Sorry about the just maybe that buzzing sound or that little distraction in the background as we spin in this direction for 3. Looked like me on Friday nights, not 30 years ago. Here's 2. Friday nights, got it. Any night. Mountain pose. All as well. Reconnect with your breath. Reconnect with that mitigated forward head tilt. Soften the throat. Soften the jaw. Soften the shoulders. Soft throat, soft jaw. We can find that voice of reason, that voice of compassion, a voice of understanding. Inhale, we'll sweep the arms wide and high, maybe a little baby back bend. And as you exhale, please swan dive, flat back, forward fold. We're going to ride the breath all the way down, pausing here. Peace fingers mat of palms and shins, half lift. Exhale, please fold it back in. All right, from this position, our first power pose is coming up. If you feel warmed up enough and you want to hop it back, feel free. Otherwise, step it back, plank position. Upward push-up, which this can be done from the knees. Otherwise, if the knees are lifted, I'd like you to extend through the crown of the head and the heels to the back of the room. Building some combustion, building some upper body strength, shoulders and chest. We'll hold for 4. If you'd like to grab a yogi push-up or 2, feel 3 as we breathe into that for 3. Here we go. Almost there for 2. Nice. Now on 1, if you haven't already, please do lower the knees, flatten the feet, chest and chin lowers down to the mat. You might notice that the fingertips are aligned with the tops of the shoulders. Inhale, a little cobra. So I'm pressing into my hips, I'm pressing into my thighs, and then exhale, peel it back down. Okay. For me, it's a little hip shimmy. Okay. Once again, inhale for cobra. We'll hold for 3. Super for the lumbar, the musculature of the low back for 2. Now on 1, release back down. Okay. This third and final version, I'm going to suggest you float the hands a couple inches off the mat and inhale up. You won't come up nearly as high. That's okay as we hold here for 3. Nice. Breathing into that for 2. Now on 1, lower back down. All right, fingertips remain in line with the tops of the shoulders. Here we go, friends. Let's press up to table and then back to a version of child's pose that I should describe as a little more narrowed knees. So the knees are a little closer together. For me, this means that it's a little more challenging to bring my forehead to the mat. I stack one palm, one fist on top of the other, and I just nestle into this. Soft, relax the shoulders. Ooh, yeah. Breath in, big breath out. Eventually, you might, as the back starts to unwind, who knows, maybe the forehead makes it to the mat. A little bit of a hover. Eventually, we're back up to table. Okay. Now, on hands and knees, I'm going to do the best job I can in an attempt to bring my right foot between the thumbs without lifting my right hand. And I can tell you right now, it's not possible for me because my hips are so wanky. So I'm going to start to slowly draw this right foot forward. If you can see that right hand comes up, oh, yeah, it lifts a bit. From this position, I might sneak that left knee back a little further. Right forearm underneath right thigh, left forearm underneath right thigh. We have this bind underneath that right thigh. Opposite hand might find opposite elbow. Core is engaged. You might feel it in the right knee a little bit as we hold here for 3. Core is hovering over. Maybe it's landing on that right thigh for 2. Now on 1, inhale, sweep the arms wide and high. Yes, we're in this position. On the exhale, that right hand goes low. Left hand is going to bisect that left ear. This is where, if you do have a block or a book, taking that right hand onto the block is a great prop as we hold here for 3. Hello, left side body. Breathing into that for 2. Nice. Now on 1, right arm comes up to meet the left because they're buddies. On the exhale, left hand front, right hand back. Left hand is front, right hand is back. Inhale, left hand high, right hand goes low. Maybe that right hand finds the block. Some will take the right hand to left hamstring, maybe the left glute, maybe the left calf. We'll hold here for 3. Nice. Breathing into that for 2. Now let's cartwheel and frame that front foot. Okay. Guess what? Right knee comes back. You're repositioned back in table. Reposition the table. Now guess what? Left foot between the thumbs. Ooh, there goes the left hand lift. Right knee might sneak back a little further. The right knee might sneak back a little further. Left forearm underneath left thigh. Right forearm underneath left thigh, and we bind. Build that strong base. Press. I like to press into the top of that right foot. Beautiful. We'll hold here for 3. A little wanky, a little wobbly. That's okay. Almost there for 2. Now, when release, sweep the arms wide and high. Okay, I'm squeezing inner left thigh towards inner right thigh, but eventually left hand is down and the right arm is up and over. Ooh, yes, here we go. We'll move it ahead if you'd like. For 3. Nice, breathing into that for 2. Now eventually on 1, left arm comes up to meet the right. Touchdown posture. Now here we go. Exhale, right hand front, left hand back. Right hand reaches front, left hand reaches back as we hold here for 3. Breathing into that for 2. Now you guess on 1. Left hand low, right hand high. Hold that steady for 3. Breathing into that for 2. Now on 1, please cartwheel. We'll frame that left foot. Right toes curl under. Right knee lifts. Right foot comes up to meet the left foot. Standing forward fold. Peace fingers to mat or palms to shins half lift. Exhale, fold it deep. Ooh. Yes. Relax here. If there's a bind you have, some will grab the calves, some will grab the Achilles tendon. I have some students that wrap the peace fingers around the big toes. That's an option. The hardest version is lift the feet, place the hands, back of the hand down, underneath the feet. Yeah. Slight baby bend to the knees, perhaps, as we hold here for 3. Steady breathing, almost there for 2. Any bind you have on 1, please release it. Arms are out like wings, reverse swan dive, taking us to standing. Palms meet above the crown head. Give yourself a hand. Heart center we go. At the heart center, a gentle reminder what emanates: kindness, compassion, empathy, tolerance, intolerance, wow, patience, forgiveness, but ultimately love. Hands come back down to the sides, recheck, a little wardrobe check. All is well. Mitigating that forward head tilt. Weight shifts to this right foot. Left leg lifts. I'm going to take this left ankle to the right thigh. Start to bend that right knee, bringing the hands to the heart center. We'll call this little one-legged chair pose. This left foot is nicely flexed. I can feel it into that left hip. Here we go. We'll hold here for 3. Breathing into that for 2. Now 1, re-straighten. Coming back to mountain. Okay. All is well. Mountain pose. Weight is based into that left foot, right leg lifts. Mhm. Simultaneously, I'm going to bend that left knee as I bring right ankle to right thigh, hands at the heart center. One-legged chair pose on this side. Mhm. Maintain the balance. We'll hold here for 3. Maybe go a little lower, almost there for 2. All right, on 1, let's re-straighten that left leg. Mountain pose. Little shimmy. Taking the hips to the side, side to side. Oh, yeah. Nice. Back to mountain. Relax. Weight comes back to that right foot. I'm going to externally rotate this left hip. And I'm going to find tree pose. So either I'm going to take that left foot to the right ankle, right calf, or the inside of the right thigh. Anywhere but the inside of the right knee. Kickstand version is great. The use of a prop in maybe a wall or a chair or a sofa. Now, this right leg, I really want to not dump into that right hip. So I'm really going to be strong through this, all 4 corners of that right foot. Instead of a little dump, I don't know if you can see that. I'm really going to see if I can lift that right hip just a bit. Arms come up by ears. Classic tree pose. If you want to change your, we call it dristy, your gaze, you can maybe close the eyes or turn the gaze towards the ceiling. Strong trees still sway. Hold here for 3. Breathing into that for 2. Now, when we're going to twist the tree, right hand to the outside of the left thigh, and the left hand goes to the low back. Right hand to the outside of the left thigh, left hand to the low back. You're probably looking over the left shoulder in the twisted tree, not twisted tea, guys. That's the alcoholic beverage, which I never tried. That's okay. We'll hold for 3. Breathing into that for 2. Now, on 1, untwist and unwind. Okay. Reset in mountain. Revisit that mitigated forward head tilt. Begin with the breath. Weight to that left foot. Externally rotate the right hip. Hello, right hip. It's actually my left, but I'm mirroring you guys. Okay, right foot to left ankle, left calf, maybe the inside left thigh. Anywhere but the knee, anywhere but the inside of the knee. Okay, notice this left hip. See if I can really minimize or get rid of that dumping into that left hip. Really strong through that left leg. Arms do whatever they want to do at this moment. Check in with your dristi. That's the gaze. So in yoga practice, we call it a dristi. I'm really pressing into that right foot, really engaging into that right hip. Heart is lifted, crown of the head is lifted as we hold here for 5. Nice. I've got a pretty strong connection of that right foot to the inside of my left thigh into the inside of my right foot for 2. Number of for 4. Here's 3, 2. All right, on 1, we're going to twist a tree. Left hand to the outside of the right thigh. Ooh, timber. Left hand to the outside of that right thigh, and the right hand to the low back. Notice the difference from this one side to the other. This side's not working so well for me. Hopefully it is for you as we hold for 3. Keep the twist going for 2. Now on 1, untwist, unwind. Hello, back to mountain. As well. Right hand to left shoulder, left hand to right shoulder. I like you to bind, beat that bind, and then just twist. We did this before, so I'm going to think about, let that twist happen above the hips. Here we go for 3. Here's 2. Nice. Now on 1, relax. Maybe the shoulders need a little love, a little shoulder roll, maybe a little neck roll. Okay. Left hand to right shoulder, right hand to left shoulder. So rebind, other forearm on top, and twist it out. Hips to square to the top. Here's 3, 2, Now on one, let go. Yes, letting go be a metaphor for truly letting go that which no longer serves. Hands come onto the thighs. Let's slide it down the thighs and stop at the knees. Fingertips wrap around the knees. Inhaling for standing cow. Exhale for standing cat. Inhaling for cow. Exhale for cat. Here we go for 4. Here's 3. Here's 2. Last one. Okay, yoga peeps, let's slide it on down. Back to our standing forward fold. Let it go. Dangle, sway, stay still. Big breath in. Big breath out. Okay, eventually, let's go ahead, bend the knees a little deeper, palms or fingertips to mat, walk it back, plank position. Big toes to touch, child's pose. That would be the version of child's pose that works best. It may be bringing the knees out wide. So you have an option if you'd like to bring the knees closer together. That's going to be a little different version. So what works best for you at this moment? Any residual tension, any stiffness, any unnecessary tightness, just let it slide off those shoulder heads. Just drip onto the mat. Just let it go. Okay, let's inhale back up to table. So reposition yourself, knees underneath the hips, wrists underneath the shoulders. We're going to introduce a posture that I know we haven't done in DNR yoga yet. The setup is going to feel like we're going into Sphinx pose, but the suggestion is draw right elbow underneath right shoulder, left elbow underneath left shoulder. All right, usually for Sphinx pose, we start to walk the knee back. This time we're going to tuck the toes under and lift the hips, dolphin pose. So this is big. This is a big posture for shoulder girdle. If this doesn't work well, reload the knees and come back down to the knees and then tuck the toes. But otherwise, we're here for 3. Some will walk those toes a little closer to the middle of the mat. Keep going almost there for 2. Now on 1, if you haven't already, please do relower the knees. Yep. Untuck the toes. All right, we've got 1 more of those coming up. So let's reposition here. Try to give yourself a moment for reset. Middle finger, wrist, and elbow might find a nice alignment. Again, dolphin pose is what it's traditionally called in yoga. Toes retuck, hips relift, dolphin pose. Hello, shoulder heads. Hello, shoulder girdles. We hold for 4. Nice. Maybe those toes walk a little closer to the middle mat for 3. So breathing steady into that for 2. Nice job, guys. Now on 1, relower the knees. Oh, yeah. Flatten the feet. Come back up to table. Okay. Beautiful. However you want to find yourself back to seat. You float onto the right hip or the left hip. We'll swing the legs around to the front. Oh, yeah. Staff pose. Inhale, the arms will lift, and exhale. Let's get a seated forward fold. Reassess from here. Maybe bend to the knees. Walking the hands up the outstretched legs. Nice job, guys. Okay. From this staff position, I want to make sure you've got room behind you. As the toes point and the fingertips reach, this is our roll down. We're going to take our time, a little more core work as we slow our roll, releasing 1 vertebra at a time to the mat. There may be a spot where you speed up, but I'm going to try to control that. You can always bring the forearms to the mat for a variation, a modification. Oh, yeah. Once the shoulder blades and the back find the mat, reach the arms overhead. Let's find stretch. It may be a morning stretch for you. It may be an evening stretch, but a stretch nonetheless as we give the ankles some movement, the toes, the fingers, the wrists. Oh, yeah. Inhale, lengthen a bit more. As we exhale, you get that both knees draw into the chest and we bind. Supine bind. Little movement side to side. If you want to rock and roll front to back, make sure you tuck the chin to the chest. Arms come out like wings. Knees, you guessed it, float to the right. The gaze will be left. Maybe from here, option is to float the right arm across the chest. The right hand might land at the left shoulder, maybe the left tricep, left bicep, left collarbone. We'll hold for 3. Breathing into that for 2. Now let's re-extend that right arm out. Let's bring, if it was released, let's come back to center. Rebind. For me, I'm so tight with it. I like to lift my shoulder blades and bang it off the mat to get this bind going. But eventually, I'm back to the mat. Shoulder blades in the back hip. My chin wants to lift a little bit to the ceiling, so I'm going to just draw the chin a little closer to the chest, arms out like wings, knees left, gaze is right. Oh, hello, spinal twist. Left arm can float across the chest. See where it lands. Maybe lose right collarbone, right shoulder head, maybe the right bicep or tricep. Just maybe depends on arm length as we hold. I know you're breathing. Yoga teacher, meditation teacher, Rolf Gates says, let the breath flow like water. We'll hold for 4. Breathing steady into that for 3. Here we go for 2. All right, yes, let's come back to center, rebind. Soles of feet come towards the ceiling. I am going to maybe grab the shins, maybe grab the ankles, maybe peace fingers wrap around the big toes. It's happy baby pose. So if you've seen that 7-month-old start to explore, maybe a 5-month-old. So I'm purposely drawing thighs low, soles of feet high. There may be a little side to side sway or rock. Really tight through my hips. I can feel this into the hip flexors. Some will draw those thighs a little lower to the floor. We're simultaneously pressing the sole of the feet to the ceiling. A little elbow grease is happening here as we hold for 4. Nice, breathing steady into that for 3. Almost there for 2. All right, please on 1. Let's gently release sole of the feet to the mat. Arms down by the sides, palms up. A little more receiving energy, palms down, a little more grounding. Okay. Preference might be to butterfly pose the legs. Might feel comfortable being the other blade of feet. Other option is right ankle extends to the right corner mat, left ankle to the left corner mat, and we rest. Savasana. So while you're in Savasana, I'm going to tell you a quick story of what happened last week related to the ripple effect. Last Tuesday, about 7 p.m., I discovered that I had, quote, misplaced, unquote, my wallet. Tore up my car, looking underneath the seat, between the seats, all around. Called the store I had been in that afternoon around 4:30 or so. They had not found the wallet. And I was in a little bit of a state of flux. My partner, Paula, actually went back and looked in the car as well, asked me some questions, and I just had it misplaced. And I was saying misplaced because I had this overwhelming sense by about 8:30 that evening, an overwhelming sense that it would turn up. I don't know why. I don't know what was about that. I didn't have a desire the need to cancel the credit cards that were in there, or knowing that thinking I'd have to replace the contents, including my driver's license. I just had this sense. We even made a trip to my last client. And that was late at night, about 9:30 or 10 o'clock. Thinking I may have left it in their office, and nope, it wasn't there. So home we go. It's 10:30 or 10:45. Wondering how I was going to sleep, whether or not that would be a fitful night of sleep because of just the uncertainty, just a little bit of the anxiety that was still creeping in. But you know what? It wasn't there. I slept like a baby. At 6:30 the next morning, Wednesday morning, I woke up. There was an email. I'll paraphrase, an email that came in at 2:53 in the morning from a gentleman by the name of Emmanuel. And it's paraphrased. It says something, "Good morning, mister. I hope you are well. I would like to tell you that I have found your wallet, and it would be my great pleasure to return it to you to your home tomorrow. Please know your documents are safe. Have a wonderful day." There was no email signature. I immediately emailed back. Thank you. I could tell this was a person with English as a second language, but it's a muchas gracias. Thank you for finding my wallet. Please, here is my phone number. Call me and I'll arrange to pick it up. So that was at about 7:30, 8 o'clock. No return email, no message, no phone call. Now it's about 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock. I was wondering how this was going to continue to unfold. I sent another email, something to the effect, "I'm curious, Emmanuel, where you found my wallet, and I would love to connect with you this afternoon to pick it up." Again, no response. So now my mood is changing just a bit. And I had an event to attend in downtown Indianapolis that Wednesday afternoon, starting around 4:30. The event was big. It's called Monumental Yoga. This is the shirt from last year's Monumental Yoga. About maybe 1,000 to 1,500 of my closest yogi friends down in the circle. And needless to say, I was distracted. The event was super fun. We were very busy and connecting with people, and kind of lost track. But in the back of my mind, I was just wondering, do I need to maybe make a cash reward for the return of the wallet? These thoughts were coming in when about 6:30 or 6:45, a text message came from my partner, Paula, with an image of my wallet and a note that said, "Kind young gentleman just knocked on the door, spoke very little English, and handed over the wallet." He refused to take the $20 that was inside the wallet. Little does Emmanuel know how often I've told that story in the last several days. The ripple effect that he had for me is amazing. So friends, as you start to reintroduce with a fuller and richer deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth, that diaphragmatic breath cycle, to reconnect with your breath as an anchor, let the breath flow fully and richly and deeply. Each exhale is my hope and desire that you get a little more at ease, releasing a little more worry, a little more tension, a little more anxiety. So next inhale draws the knees into the chest. This is our signal. We're about to conclude. Some will float to their favorite side. It may be right side or left. Some will stay on the back. Doesn't matter. Reconnecting to your purpose, your desire, your intention, the ripple effect. Sending some love, some light to somebody in your midst who may be struggling at this moment as we press up or rock and roll our way up to seated. Since we didn't do a formal seated posture today, whatever it is for you, cross-legged butterfly pose, legs out front. Here's that reassessment moment, the time to reconnect, realign, readjust. Draw the hands to the heart space. Here it is, a connection at the heart center. That's super important, super energetic spot. Chakra, energy center in the heart. Thank you, heart. Shout out a little note of gratitude for that autonomic nervous system. And in that traditional fashion, sealing this DNR yoga practice in the traditional fashion with the word namaste. I've heard it described probably 18, 20, 25 different ways. For me, it's very simple. One of my favorites is, please know the divine light, the teacher, and the spirit that dwells within me, indeed with a bunch of gratitude, and hopefully a mindset and a heart set towards better understanding the ripple effect, bows to the divine light, the teacher, and the spirit within you all. Namaste. Be well, yogis. Drink lots of water. Questions, comments, please always reach out. Love you all. Be well. Until next week. Peace.